this is just a coveted industry. Like people aren't as like, it's an industry where you have to basically have, an apprenticeship. Like someone has to take you under their wing and teach you or introduce you to somebody.
Hey, I'm your host Kosh, and this is the Creative Breakthrough Podcast. This podcast was created to give artists the codes to build audiences, cash flow, and make a living doing what they love. Ultimately, the goal is to eliminate the starving artist. On today's episode, I have talent manager Kyle.
Checking in.
Thank you for being here.
No, thank you for having me.
For people who are unfamiliar with you, how would you describe what you do in one sentence?
In one sentence, I would describe what I do as recognizing talent, like whether it's artists or producers or executives, and then positioning it for success.
I love
That's how I would put it in one sentence.
Yeah, for success is essential too, but you definitely do that. How would you describe yourself in one word?
I would describe myself in one word as diligent. Yeah.
Very much so. I've experienced your diligence. Okay, so now in the position that you're in life, well, it may not be in this position, but when do you think you achieved your first creative breakthrough?
I would say my first creative breakthrough, I mean, there's like a bunch of smaller creative breakthroughs I think you have to experience before you experience a bigger one. I think the first time you get paid for doing something that you love is a creative breakthrough that everyone experiences or everyone should experience. So I would say probably that one specifically, just starting off in my journey in working in entertainment. I started off doing production, like PAing early on. So that once I realized like, oh damn, I can do what I like to do and be around the people I like to be around and, work in the field that I want to, absorbing knowledge about whether it's film and TV or the music industry and get paid for it. I think that was like the first breakthrough that I had.
Can you speak to what that moment actually looked like? I mean, you talked about it a little bit, but like, do you remember what it actually was?
For me, when I first moved back to Atlanta, because I'm from Atlanta, but I went to college up north in Massachusetts. So when I first moved back to Atlanta, and honestly, there's probably instances before that, actually, so I'm going to take it back. But with that, I first moved back to Atlanta, started PAing just by knowing someone. Like, it was like a friend of my brother's who worked on music videos, and he knew I had experience in working in film and TV from my internship at BET that I had in college. So, I had some production experience, putting together the awards, etc. So that was like just a music video. It was for feature and division. And then, a couple weeks later, I got a check for it. But before that, I would say that even before that, like in college, when I was working with my friends initially, helping them monetize their careers, it was as simple as throwing a party, or it was more so like showcases that we put on. So it'd be like a showcase / party / inviting the community to come in, whether it's people selling vintage clothing or people selling their photographs and art. And then seeing the returns, like at the end of the day or at the end of a party, once people have you at the door, like, checking who comes in and who's paying, and you have performers, etc. Just at the end of the day, like when you count the money up, like, damn, like, this is something that I'm passionate about, and I was able to make money doing it. I would say those are all smaller steps that lead to bigger, creative breakthroughs.
And so what was your big creative breakthrough after those?
Once I did move back to Atlanta and started networking more based off of the relationships I already had or the ones I was building, having the opportunity to start blessing other people in the same, to have certain opportunities and position themselves. So I think that was probably the next biggest creative breakthrough, because that's something that usually people don't end up doing until later on in their careers. And so a lot of the OGs and people that I was around I was soaking up game from, while explaining to them the things that I wanted to do, and like kind of, create a pathway for other people, they were like, damn, that's, something that we're just now starting to do. So I think that was probably my next creative breakthrough, because I think from there I was able to derive, like, this is my mission in life.
So let's talk more as you moved into like the OG space, right? And that's like very vague of what I'm saying, and you can get into that in a second, but like, what did you fail at as you tried to do that?
Thinking I knew too much, or thinking that having this idealistic view of what it looked like to be in that space, I think.
Can you elaborate on the second part?
So you go to school. I went to school, graduated top of my class in high school, went to a very prestigious university up north, like graduated, didn't do so well in college, but, worked hard, met the right people. But, you're kind of taught in school, like you go to college, you get a degree, you get a job, that's the pathway, but that's not necessarily one that's like so vague, and it's part of the whole thing of like you're in school and you're like, why does my GPA, my college GPA, like my GPA matters so much? And then you get out and no one ever asks you like what GPA you got. So these little lies or things, that myths that we're taught growing up, the music industry and just entertainment in general. And this may be slightly filtered by the fact that when I graduated, COVID happened. That is another seismic shift that happened, but it doesn't really work that way in terms of like how quickly you can kind of ascend in the industry. One, because you're building a foundation for yourself and networking laterally. And two, this is just a coveted industry. Like people aren't as like, it's an industry where you have to basically an apprenticeship. Like someone has to take you under their wing and teach you or introduce you to somebody. So I think that was probably one of the things I had to realize is like, taking a couple steps back and realizing that one, like it's okay to have another job to make money while the things that you're passionate about take time to develop, and to the relationships to be massaged, and things to line up in the time it takes to line them up. Not saying that they've lined up entirely for me, but I feel like I'm able to like look at things from higher up, take a step back, like, okay, this is the bigger picture, and also, of course, incorporating faith into that.
Zoom out, long game. That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
You saying it's a coveted industry, and so going into it, when you said you thought you knew more than you knew, what does that mean? You thought you could just break into it without any help? Is that what
No,
you're saying?
not without any help, but just I thought it was going to be like I do this, you get this in return, not really understanding how things are kind of put on a conveyor belt, really. And that's just working in any industry or corporate America, like, but I think people move up laterally, maybe, like, especially if you just thinking about like the importance that is placed on like going to college and getting a degree. The first thing that you're thinking when you have a degree is like, okay, I'm gonna be like ahead of somebody else. Like I'm not gonna be at the bottom of the totem pole. And then based on the work that I put in, I will receive that, back. But it doesn't necessarily work that way. There's a lot of chutes and ladders both ways that you can run into.
As you progressed in that, because you're doing that full time now, right?
Yeah, I'm doing that full time now.
So that started what year, and what was that transition like?
Well, I won't say it started last year, but it definitely came to a different level, another creative breakthrough, I guess you could say. When I was in school, my junior year, I had the opportunity to move to LA for like 9 months. And then while I was there, I was interning at BET. And this came from personal relationships that I had built in Boston, literally on the other side of the country. And the work that I was doing and just like showcasing like, hey, I've done this, I've done this, I've done this. Like started working with a couple of friends that had their own production company in Boston, but they also worked full time at BT, going back to that thing about, pursuing your passions while having a full-time job. And then especially if those things complement each other, that would be ideal. But got referred for an internship role, and I lined it up perfectly because I knew I was going to be going to LA because of the program that I was involved in, that we took classes in LA that were very entertainment industry focused while interning, but like everyone had a non-paid internship. But me, the only like one of two black kids at a predominantly black company, like had a paid internship. That was special in its own regard, but that was when the journey, I guess, started because I interned and I decided to join the talent relations team, which was lined up with what I was currently doing. But, when you're working with your friends, you're not necessarily thinking like, oh, this is talent relations, like, but it is at any level. But then I also was interested in marketing. I have a degree in marketing. I was interested in creative. I really had to, on that application, I literally had to decide, like, what team do I want to be on? Not to say I knew I had a shoe in to get the internship because of personal relationships, but that was kind of implied. So, I decided, I was like, I remember thinking about it, like, damn, which team do I want to be on? I was like, I think I'm gonna do talent relations. Like, this is like more in line with what I want to do and what I have been doing, and I've seen success in it. And that just started a domino effect that 4.5 years later, as people transition from the company or move up the ranks, like literally, I built a great relationship with the person who has the job that I currently have as manager. She was a manager at the time, built a great relationship with her as an intern. So like the totem pole is like intern, coordinator, manager, director, senior director, SVP, etc. So, but in the span of 4 years, she eventually became the director of our team. And, back to the diligence thing, like after my internship ended, I knew I was going to graduate and go back to Atlanta. So I was like, well, maybe there's an opportunity for me to continue my internship. It is BT after all. I live in Atlanta. Like, maybe there's an opportunity for me to continue my internship or continue working with the team while I'm in Atlanta. So I just maintain good relationships. And then, like I said, dominoes happen. You have a partnership that occurred with Tyler Perry Studios and BT. So now it was like, okay, we have real production going on here. And a lot of our talent lives down here. So it just kind of made sense. And then I got a call like 7 months ago, like, hey, would you like to join the team full time versus just like coming in and again, PAing on like random sets or shoots. Like, would you like to join the team full time? And it worked out perfectly because it was like, oh, and you can stay in Atlanta, you can work remotely, all these things that I never would have, again, back to like taking it a couple steps back, like I never would have saw that for coming. Obviously, no one was working from home in 2015, like 2017, like that wasn't a thing. So, but again, back to the faith of it all too.
So you said a lot of things there, and you gave a lot of good context about where you got now. And so usually my next question is, what are 3 strategies you use to break through? But I think you communicated them. So you said networking, you said faith. I mean, you definitely, I think timing gets an honorable mention.
Yeah.
And then also, I think the last part was diligence.
Yeah.
Is that a good synopsis?
Yeah.
That's really what you said, and just how you broke it down is helpful. One thing I want to ask though is like, what keeps you faithful throughout those processes?
I mean, you just got to have your own relationship with the Lord and really kind of be grounded in that, whatever it is, if it's not God, like some sort of higher being, something that just reminds you where you came from, what can ground you.
Is there anything that you do, like any practices or practical ways that you could communicate?
I mean, I think towards the end of the year, I probably get more like introspective every year. I think this is a Leo thing. Like they say that on Sundays, like Leo's trying to just get their life together, like before the week starts. So I usually do that. Like I see myself doing that, whether it's a Sunday or the end of the year, just like recognizing like what are some things, and this is obviously top of mind because we just came into the new year, but
yeah,
what are some things, I can do better, being more introspective. Yeah, that's one thing.
So it would be like reviewing your goals.
Yeah,
On
for
a
sure.
timely matter. Like how often?
I mean, I had them. It's funny. I had wrote out my goals for last year, and my mom sent them to me yesterday. Like, because before the end of the year, she was like, "You should check off all the things you accomplished," and it was like, it wasn't all of them, but it was a good 60% of them. But just having that somewhere where you can see every day, as a reminder, things you're working towards.
Yeah, no, I think that's really helpful, especially because it's so easy to get caught up in the noise of whatever's going on around you.
Yeah.
Okay, so shifting gears a little bit, also because you're like newly in this role. This is a specific and a general question. How do you make money doing what you love? But I'm speaking more to you than generally speaking.
How do I make money doing what I love? I mean, I would say that my income is a little less like straightforward in terms of like pure passion, not like work. Obviously, I make money doing what I love because I'm working what I love, and that's just like a check every week
Right.
by the grace of God. But in terms of my side passions, or because truth be told, while working with talent and at any level with any talent is like a learning experience and amazing. I'm working more on the film and TV side, but outside of, my 9 to 5, branching off to more general, like just project management, talent management in general. But my passion is definitely in artist development and working with artists. So I would say that side, I mean, that's kind of like a space that, truth be told, I haven't even stepped into yet, where like I'm making bread off of or with my partners my
Mhm.
creative partners. But there's plenty of ways that they make money, and I see my little percentage here and there, but I don't really do it for the money. But I would say that again, that kind of comes just with time. You know, honestly, like if you are putting out a quality product, and you can put strategy behind it. I mean, but strategy often requires money to like pushing
Right.
something. So you know, I haven't found the equilibrium just yet, where the income is coming in more so than what's going into it. But that's all part of the journey, you know. And one day that will be the opposite. And no, I never know when that day could happen, but yeah.
Sooner than later. Could you give me like the best practices for managing talent if you've never done it before?
Yeah, I mean, you just have to be one in tune with the people that you're working with, like, and understanding it's a job of service. Like at the end of the day, you know, you're literally like helping someone else obtain their goals. So if you don't find passion or you're not passionate about that or find joy in that, then you're not gonna want to do that. Especially if you're someone that's like, no, I'm more concerned about pushing my own agenda. Your agenda can line up with that person's if that's truly and genuinely what you want to do, but if it doesn't, then that's kind of, I would say, yeah, that's my advice.
So putting yourself second.
Yeah, putting yourself second, but obviously not to a fault. But you have to be able to help someone achieve their goals, you know, and understanding that it's a partnership at the end of the day. So there has to be reciprocity in that relationship.
Yeah, that's good, man. That's really good. That's really what it is. And it requires a lot of effort.
It requires a lot of effort. I would say also people skills, like being able to read a room, being able to understand this is a word that or this phrase I've been seeing people use recently, human design. But yeah, just like understanding how people work, like how organizations work, how people work within an organization. Like those are all things that are important to know on both sides of the coin, because oftentimes you're going to be pitching your talent to companies, organizations, whether it's to get them on the red carpet or get them brand deals, etc. Like, so you need to know the ins and outs of that. And patience also is important too, because like, it's funny, I went to a premiere with one of my talent last week for BMF season 1 or the season 2 premiere. And as much as you can do to prepare, like, oh, like, we want to make sure we have red carpet access, and she's doing press interviews. Like, on the flip side, I know, like, there's so much that goes into making sure, like, oh, the right people are on the carpet at the right time, and then understanding, like, when I get there, this is how I have to, if things aren't going the right way, like, then my client wants, like, this is how I have to work the situation. Who do I need to talk to? How can I be understanding of that? Like, they're under their own pressure, whatever that pressure is, they're doing a job too. How can we, like, meet in the middle, you know, versus, like, coming in super overbearing, like, demanding or anxious about a situation, like, and that's, you know, I think those are all things that are important to know, because nothing is going to go ever right, ever. Like, something is always going to go wrong. So just being calm in the moment and knowing how to pivot, very important.
Well, you win the award for the calmest person I've ever met. That's for sure.
You're not just saying that, are you?
No, I'm so serious, bro. You are the most laid back person I know on earth.
People
That's
be
good.
pressed. I don't be pressed. I think
About
everything
anything.
happens for a reason. Like,
Yeah.
you
I'm not you.
know.
But I do believe everything happens for a reason, but I am not patient. You are very patient, or you come off very patient, if that's the way to say it. I think you just have the genetic disposition to be very laid back, and everybody doesn't have that. And it can be a gift if you know how to use it.
Yeah, that's so funny, because something I did with my team, that my nonprofit team, we did this test. It's called like the Herman Miller Brain Diagnostic Test.
Of course, yeah. It's always like that.
It's
Yeah,
one of those, like, I don't know, I took an organizational structure class in college, and they do this little like test with us too. But like, it's one of
yeah.
those, like, and it really kind of like breaks down by asking you certain questions and like having you kind of categorize sets of words. Like, it kind of describes, like, okay, this is your way of thinking, and this is your way of thinking when you're under stress. And like, when you do that, you kind of can see, and they have like 4 different kind of like general like areas. Like, this is how this person like whether it's like mathematical, methodical, creative, all these things. And you really can see like, damn, like people really think differently. Like, and you can't really fault somebody for that. Like you said, that should be genetic or like how they was growing up, like raised. Like, so from there, figuring out, okay, how can we best work together is like super important. So
Communications.
communication.
Yeah, that's really the biggest thing. That's the biggest issue that I see with most creative people in general is they don't know how to communicate really anything that they're doing. And so that is my segue into this again. So I wrote this book. It's called From Creative to Creative Director. It is the complete guide for every creative project. I'm giving it away for free. Kyle gets a book. Everybody here can get a book. All you got to do is shoot me a DM and just pay for the shipping and I'll send it to you. I would love to send it to you. I have 5 categories of terms. There's audio, video. Well, video and photo is one, but audio, video, photo, marketing, and design terms in this book. So it's only about 60 pages. It's very quick, easy reference. You can put it in your pocket. I can't show you my phone, but it's about the size of your phone. You could take it with you anywhere inspiration strikes. So if you want one, shoot me a DM. Tell people how they can connect with you.
My email, which is Kyle Campbell Management, MGMT.
You want to write it.
But yeah, you guys can reach me there if you're interested, want to talk, whatever.
He's giving it all out, y'all. So you want to put your address out too?
No.
Is there any other way? Where else can they find you on any other social platforms?
You can find my team and my student from our program at Project Go Dark. And just to speak about that, we created a workforce development program for students interested in the entertainment industry, just getting them around the right people in the right rooms, teaching them things that you can learn in the classroom, but is more so experience-based. And it actually is taught. We teach it alongside a professor who teaches these classes at Georgia State, Spelman, Clark, and Morehouse. Students get the real, like in the books, knowledge of the entertainment industry, specifically the music industry, and then also they get real world experience as well. So yeah, you can follow Project Go Dark to know more about that.
No, Project Go Dark is super dope. If you're interested in getting involved in the entertainment industry in any way, you should just follow them at the bare minimum. They really provide resources for you to do stuff that you might not have the resources to do. So
it's just like a launching pad. Everyone isn't as blessed to have some things lined up for them the way that they, lined up for myself. So, we're creating that opportunity. It's literally just like a domino effect. It could be the first domino in your chain of dominoes.
All right, well, Kyle, I don't have any more questions for you. So thank you for your time. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing your knowledge and your experience.
Thank you for having me, Kosh. Peace and love.
Hey, so if you want to stay in tune with the Creative Breakthrough podcast, you can come watch each podcast live on Instagram Live at 7 p.m. Eastern every Wednesday. And if you can't make those, feel free to subscribe on wherever you listen to podcasts. It's Creative Breakthrough Podcast. You can search it. I look forward to showcasing more stories from well-vetted creatives so that we can eliminate the starving artist. Peace and love, y'all.